Welcome guys to the After Effects Animation Mastery Bootcamp. Now what do I mean by that? In the story of my journey when I got into talking head videos, whether it is short form or long form, there was no tutorials out there. There wasn't even remakes, but there is still a few things missing. And you know what that is? To this date, no one on YouTube covered how to come up with great animations in talking head videos completely from scratch. So what we're gonna do in the 7-day series, we're gonna walk step by step as to how to master animations specifically for talking head type videos for After Effects. So in this first video, what we're gonna be doing is I'm gonna have a ready-made design already and we're gonna animate the scene. And at the same time, I will cover fundamentals to how to animate and the principles of animations. Now it might seem a bit basic and you might feel like it is below your level, but you will find out things that you never understood before, or you will definitely find out things that can help you in your next animation. And then after it, we're gonna jump on to things like design, how to come up with ideas, and we're gonna do a complete animation with the design from scratch, and that is gonna be very interesting. So yeah, before we start, we just need one thing. In order for you to follow the progress or to practically do the things with me, click on the description below where I put the file so you can access the file and the assets and everything, and you will have basically a design with like a still image with nothing moving. And then from there, we animate together and we come up with an amazing piece. And that will be the same procedure for the next 7 days as well for this whole series. So yeah, I hope you guys stick throughout this video and the next 7 days for the whole series. And with that being said, I think we're ready to dive in to After Effects. And obviously this is a boot camp. So before we even get into animating, we need to understand what are some basics of animations and how to come up with a great animation just by doing the things on our screen. And what are some things that we can do to bring this image into something live, okay? So usually what I do is obviously we edit in 16:9 resolution. You'll see over here, it is locked aspect ratio to 16:9. But many of the times, designs can extend past the stage basically at what we can look at. Because when I made this design, I kind of had the width and height more. And I'll tell you guys that why. But initially what we want to do is, for example, take the width to 4000, I think. So it's going to extend this a little bit more, the sides. I need to extend it a bit more actually. So yeah, we can basically see these text in a complete manner. And then do the same thing for the height. So I'm going to basically increase the height as well. All right. So now we have this animation right in front of us, which is not 16:9, but don't worry about it. 16:9 is going to come. Now what we got to do basically is we got to understand how can this image come into life. We see what we have on our screen. What are some fundamentals of design? What are the fundamentals of animation over here? So yeah, initially when I created this design, okay, there was a certain idea, which is why I came up with this, is I wanted to show the brain and say real insights because they're connected. Like a brain is a real insight, you get me? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to resonate this brain around like a magic portal basically, and I did not want to go too harsh on how the magic portal looks. I know magic portals are supposed to have stars and have Doctor Strange vibes, but I thought why not just go for something simpler and it stands out. So I went for something that is like a cycle like this. By the way, for the design and stuff like that, you guys can definitely click and see how I did a couple of things. But later down the series, we're gonna have a complete from scratch design. So also that is gonna be interesting, as well as how we get the ideas. So yeah, for here, I will just tell you to focus on animation because our core focus is animation. Now I see a couple of things that can be moving on my screen. Okay, because initially we just have a still image and that doesn't make sense. All right. And we need to understand a couple of things as well, is what is going to be the length of our animation? What are we supposed to display? And how can we put this in a sequential manner? So not all of them come up together. By the way, this is with a voiceover. There is supposed to be a voiceover behind this, but I purposely did not put voiceover just so you guys can see the thought process that comes behind the animations without a voiceover. But the voiceover is like basically the director or the pathway as you're pacing. But anyways, don't worry too much about that. Now let's start with animation. And I'm gonna cover every fundamental of animation, even with the graphs and stuff like that, just so you guys can understand. Now I have this thing, okay? And I think the first thing we wanna show is the real insights. Because these things over here, which is monetary reward, creative mastery, client satisfaction, continuous growth, are the real insights. You get me? So they cannot come before the text real insights. Now the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna animate the text real insight. So let me go on to this composition. All right, in this composition, you'll find the text real insights. You will basically see this text, you will see this thing in the back, and you will see the brain. Okay, now from this point onwards, what we want to do is start animating the shape layer, which is the brain, and start animating also the real insights. Now for the brain, the first thing that I want to do is I want the brain to constantly have a certain type of movement, okay? Regardless of it being here or not, I want it to have a certain type of movement consistently, so it doesn't look like the brain is empty. And I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do that. But before that, let me animate the brain, okay? So what I'm gonna do is press P over here and animate the brain. I'll go around 2 seconds ahead. I don't know why our time code starts from 2, so I'm just gonna take this to 0. This won't make any difference, don't worry. And now I'm gonna go 2 seconds ahead. So for pacing in general, I always have my compositions as 25 frame rates, and then for the seconds, I never go for animations that are too short. I go for lengthy animation with sharp graphs. Why? I'll tell you why. Okay, so let's do a comparison. So let's say I want to bring my brain from above like this, and we have this linear keyframe. Now before I cover why I have my animations more lengthy, let's cover what are graphs. Now graphs are basically what will add speed according to the time to our animation. So you guys can see that there's a certain type of movement that is not linear. It is not consistently moving at the same pace. And when we open our graph editor, we basically see this, okay? Especially what we have to do is select the keyframes. So once you select the keyframes, open up the graph editor and head on to this, choose graph type and options, and then just toggle these options. We're gonna start with a speed graph, and it's hard for me to cover like the graph and everything in depth, but that is covered in depth completely in Editor's League, which I will explain to you guys what is Editor's League in a few minutes, not now. But yeah, let's head to speed graph and basically just pull this in front. Now what does this graph mean? If you are already an intermediate, then you might get it, but if you don't know what this graph means, basically the speed starts from 0 over here. Let's say this is our equilibrium, or this is our base level. So the speed at this point is 0, and then it goes to a very high speed, which is its maximum speed, okay, which is 2000 for example. And then it's gonna slow down smoothly. You can see it is smoothly slowing down. And if I said not smoothly, for example, this is how it would have looked. If I take this keyframe and I make it linear, something is getting fucked. Like it's not slowing down smoothly, it's just suddenly slowing down. So now let's have a look at it. You can see it starts like kind of slow, it speeds up, and then in the ending it is almost at its destination, but it's just moving, which is what I like. I like it when it's almost at its destination, but there is a bit of movement, like it's still not in the final place. You get me? So that creates a very nice look. And what I will do is I will move this a bit sharper so that it starts earlier, okay? And now you can see it comes up a bit earlier. And what I can do is I kind of feel like this is slow, so I will like push this, for example, towards 2.5 seconds, and now this feels good. Okay, now we have this animation for the brain. What I'm gonna do is do the exact same thing for this brush part. Okay, now this brush fortunately is already animated because it's a video, so all you gotta do is come up over here and remove the timestamp, whatever, and this is how it's gonna happen. This is our animation with the brush. Don't worry too much about the pacing with the brush, it's just normal. It's how it is, the stock footage. And what I will do is I will animate real insights as well. Now understand something, is I am anticipating where my animation is gonna be? Like, how is it gonna be? You get me? So I have to base off everything off of that. The anticipation of my animation is gonna be like, we're gonna come up, for example, from something that's zoomed in. All of these will come up, the real insights and the brain, and then each arrow is gonna come up one by one, and the circle is gonna come at the same time. Okay, and then the text is gonna start coming up one by one as well with the arrow. So once the left arrow, for example, goes to the left, the text with it is gonna come at the end of the arrow's movement, and in that way, so it feels sequential. All right, so yeah, basically I'm just doing this brain animation, making it come from up to down in this way. And now I want to do basically the text animation as well, and I want the brain animation and the text animation to be synced. Now guys, when I say something like that, I want you guys to pick it up, that in the same scene animation can be synced, animations can be sequential. So over here, because they're almost the same composition, I'm gonna make it synced, and I'm gonna do the opposite movement. I'm gonna make real insights come from down instead of coming from up. So yeah, let's go and animate this. Click on the arrow over here, go to animate, and then go to position, and now go add, and also add opacity, for example. So now I'll take the position like this, and I'll do the opacity 0. You might just feel like it just went away, like what the hell happened? That is because we don't have our range selector. So what our range selector does is, look, if I move the starting, it basically brings it up from the new position and the new opacity to the default. Okay, so it saves the default already, like in the computer system or whatever. But what we have to do before that is go to advanced, and then go to shape and make it ramp up. Okay, so you can see they are like in a ramp, you understand? And now basically I will take the offset to -100, so it's not like that. -100, keyframe it. Keyframe is what makes the whole thing. Keyframe is what animates things, if you guys don't know. This is aimed for intermediate, by the way. If you're a complete beginner, this is not for you. And now let me make this 100. If you're a complete beginner, as in like if it's your first day on After Effects, then it's definitely not for you. But if you have like maybe 1 month of experience even in After Effects, then it's for you. So yeah, anyone that just started After Effects right now, this is definitely not for you. Editors League is for everyone though. Intermediate, advanced, beginners, I cover the best of the best from all of them. Just click on the link below and you're gonna know what Editors League is. Now I'm gonna go to advanced, and I'm gonna make the ease low 100%. What does this mean? Okay, why am I making the ease low 100%? Why am I not just animating the offset and adding a graph on it? Because unfortunately it doesn't work that way with animators. So ease low basically means that if this point goes all the way to the left, so you can see this is 100. Basically I want to make this 100. Okay, so think of it this way. I'm making this 100, making this point go all the way left, and this point, for example, let's say I want it to be like 7. All right, so I'm gonna go and do 7. Now let's take a look at what we have. Boom, not too bad, not bad at all. However, I do feel like it feels a bit slower than the brain. Like we basically gotta pull this a bit backward. Now that feels a lot better. That feels a lot better. However, I don't like animations which have too much movement, so I'll switch it from based on characters to based on words. And basically, it's gonna come word by word in this way. Now we gotta decrease the ease high, I think. Increase the ease high so that they are ramped up a bit lesser. Now let's take a look. Anyways, I made the ease high around -17, whatever. It doesn't look bad at all. What I can do is, I feel like it comes from 2 down, because like, I don't know, there's a weird movement. So I'm gonna decrease from how low it comes. So the default is 0, I'm gonna make it like 30, before it was 90. Yeah, so this is a lot better in my opinion. Nice, cool. This is a lot better in my opinion. And now I'm gonna do something. As you see the brush does not move, so that is a disadvantage. And so what I will do is I will take the brush and position it just like where the text comes from. So let's have a look at the text. You can see it comes from here. So basically the brush is gonna come from here as well. By the way, make sure you unlink. In case you guys can't see this, then right click, columns, and open up parental linking, and then just go here and click none. All right, now Let me take this a bit below, take it backward now, and do the same graph that we had before, which was this graph. Cool. Now let's have a look at it from outside to our actual pre-comp. This is how it looks. Not bad. Just a 30-second pause, boys. This literal animation that you see right now, or this design, I made this 2 videos ago where I covered 30 animations. Now, where did I cover this? I covered this in my newly launched program, Editors League. In Editors League, I help you achieve mastery, no matter your skill level, by breaking down these animations that I made completely from scratch with their project files. I even remake the best edits that you see out there. People like Iman Gadzi, Alex Hormozi, Bart VFX, Houston Cole. I break it down and I tell you guys exactly how to do it with the project files. So you guys literally have the source files. There is even a plan to help you go from either an intermediate editor or a beginner editor to becoming a master like me. I even give feedback on every single edit that has been posted with a 30 to 20 minute video. If you don't believe me, check the description. I do weekly recordings. That means forever there will be weekly recordings, new sauce every week. And it's not one video, it's 3-4 videos that I'm dropping in a week. It's whole modules. How to design like a king, how to get these crazy ideas, new breakdowns, new edits from scratch. And then aside from that, one of the main things is I help you generate clients by telling you exactly how I built this YouTube channel with only like 16-18 videos to around 600 to 700k views, where I got thousands of clients, and how I built my Twitter to get like 10-20k views and 200-300 likes on every single video. And then I get you clients from my own agency. So imagine, literally, if you get into the community and you get to a certain good level where you can edit, I guarantee you a client. I literally give you a client from my own agency, and I've already been doing this. And why am I saying all this? Because there is a Black Friday offer going on. As Black Friday is approaching in the next 7 days, it is at a discounted price right now, only for the next 7 days. After this, the price will increase. If you join now, you'll be grandfathered in forever at the price that you join at. So no matter how high the price goes, you stay at the same price. But yeah, if you guys want more in-depth details, then make sure you click on the first link in the description below and check exactly what's on the inside, and I promise you it's your next best move. But yeah, with that being said, let's get back right to it. Now basically, we want to animate the arrows and everything else. So to do that, I will find my arrow. You can see we have a couple of arrows over here for some reason. So what you gotta do is, if your project file the arrows are fixed, then okay, don't do what I'm doing. But if your arrows are duplicated, then just delete the upper version. Basically, there is a duplication of the arrows for some reason, so don't worry too much about that. Now this is the right arrow, this is the down arrow, this is the up arrow, and this is the left arrow. So what I want to do is I want each arrow to sequentially come starting from right in a clockwise manner, because I think clockwise just makes more sense logically in real life to move in this way. You get me? So what I will do is I'll just make it start from right, because in general I'm just the type of person who likes to start things with right, and I want my viewers to see monetary rewards the first thing. So that's what like clicks on their brain. They're like, real insights is monetary rewards for me, so that's good. They will see monetary rewards as the first thing. So that's like just a little thought process behind it. Now there's a duplication of monetary reward as well. Just delete that. Okay, delete that. And now we want to animate the arrows for each one of them. So we have the right arrow over here. What I'm gonna do is press P on my keyboard, okay, and I'll go 2 seconds ahead or 1 second in front, depends. What I will do is I'll wait for this animation to almost finish. So let's look at where it finishes. I'll go like a few frames behind it, like around 2 seconds. It finishes at 2.5, right? So I want my next animation to start a little bit before it. And yeah, let me just move this. Now the arrow is obviously facing left, so it doesn't make sense that it comes, or the arrow is facing right, sorry. It doesn't make sense that it positions from right. I want it to come from like, I want the arrows to look like they came from the brain. Okay, so that's something, for example. So what I'm gonna do is make the arrows come up, you see, from the middle, like this. And I'll do that for all the arrows. So let me press P on all of them. Press P, position, take the default position in front, take it in front like this. I know where it finishes now. And now put all of them in the middle. So pull this one to the middle like this, like a clock basically. Pull this one to the middle, pull this one to the middle. So this is how it's kind of gonna be. It doesn't matter, don't worry about this. Don't worry about it being accurate. Now look, this is how the arrows will move. Obviously this looks really weird and it looks shit. So what we said that over here, like at 2 frames, or maybe in the middle of it, the arrow movement is gonna start. So now I will pull the arrows, okay, and make them start from here. Now you see, basically this is how it's gonna work. We want to do a graph, so let me F9 or just right click, go to easy ease, and pretty much I will pull this all the way to the front, and I'll pull this all the way to the front as well. So we basically have them coming out very sharply. You guys can see they're coming out very sharply in this way. Now it does feel a bit slow, so let me just pull this a bit backward randomly. Nice. So we said what? Clockwise, right? So monetary reward is gonna come up first, the basically the arrow, so over here, and then we go 5 frames in ahead. So 1 2 3 4 5, and then I'm gonna push this so it starts this 1 2 3 4 5. I'm gonna push this one so it starts 5 frames ahead, 1 2 3 4 5, and then I'm gonna push this one. So let's have a look. See, every one of them comes one by one, and I think it should be even more delayed, but we're gonna sync that later on with the camera movement, don't worry. Now obviously once the arrow comes, it makes sense that the text will pop up. So what I want to do is basically I want to do the exact same thing we did before, which is go here, position, or actually I have a better idea now that I think of it. So this arrow comes and I'm gonna do an opposite movement. See, I use for example opposite movement in a good way. It doesn't like literally have to be the same. So I will sync it exactly to the arrow animation. You can see exactly to the arrow animation, and I'll make it come from like here halfway, doesn't matter. Okay, and I'll do the exact same graph, which was F9, and it was this graph. Now I won't do the graph every time just so I can save time. We don't got all day. If you guys have got all day, then definitely Editor's League is there. So yeah, now see the monetary rewards, the way it comes, I like it. So I will sync all of the text the same way that I did with the shape. So come up over here, take continuous growth, P, pull the shape backward like this from outside, do this graph. I'll be back once it's done. So now you guys can see basically the arrows and the animations are synced. Look, now we have this animation. This comes up, boom, boom, nice, cool. And what I said, another thing we have is the magic portal that is behind. So the magic portal cannot just exist out of nowhere. Maybe it could, but I feel like it will be weird. So what I will do is once these arrows start animating, I'll make the magic portal come out as well. So it looks like the arrows are coming out of the magic portal. It will look amazing. So I'll pull this all the way to the last keyframe, okay? The last keyframe, and I will basically make it 0. Looks good. Now I'll do the same graph, which was this one, 0 and 100. And let's have a look. Cool, not too bad. But look, this animation looks dry right now. It looks dry. And one thing that I like to do is I like to add less dryness and always have dynamics in my animation. Like things are always moving. So before I even like involve more things, let me think like, how can I make this scene look significantly better? By the way, we have to go inside this pre-comp, which is the brain one, and extend the height. Just because I realized it was cutting out. So yeah, now I'm thinking, how can I make this animation less dry? So first thing, I have an idea. Go onto the brain and add like a wiggle to it. So over here you guys will see there is already wiggle, but I'm just gonna delete that and I'm gonna do it again. So yeah, basically add an effect called transform. You guys will see it. Drag dash it, and then open up effects from here, go to transform, and hold Alt on your keyboard and click, and then just write up wiggle, and basically in the starting it will be frequency. So frequency is how much it moves, so I'll do like 2, and then amplitude would be like 10, for example. So now let's have a look. See, you can see there is this very nice movement and I love it. I think we can just have a bit more amplitude, which is gonna be like maybe 40. Yeah. Now one thing is I don't want this to be so smooth, because my animation, the style that I'm going for, is more of a laggy type style. So what I'm gonna do is just add an effect called posterize time, which should be above the wiggle, and I'll make the posterize like 4. So it's gonna basically give that shaky look, the Ali Abdal type of shaky look. You guys can see. I think the posterize time can be even lesser, 2. Yeah. Now I want to do the same thing for rotation. So hold Alt, copy, paste it. So now basically there's gonna be also for rotation, but you can see the amplitude for rotation is too much. So let's decrease the amplitude to like 5, basically how much it's gonna rotate. It's only gonna be 5, not much. I think posterize time being 2 is too less, but what I will do is I'll decrease the wiggle to like 20 and I'll make the posterize time 4. So it is almost unnoticeable. Now let's have a look of it from outside. You guys can see, basically now it feels way less dry, just by moving one more thing on our screen. Now one principle of design is that you cannot have like things over here that kind of pre-exist in this way. It makes it look weird. But why do I say, like, why did I not comment about this just pre-existing? Because we're gonna be doing a camera animation which is pretty much gonna hide that, okay? Because I have anticipated what I want to do. I have an image in my mind of the animation that I'm going for. You get me? That's why. So yeah, now adding this definitely made it way less dry. One more thing I think we can do is maybe we do this for the text animators as well, perhaps. No need, maybe no need. Okay, cool. This is how it looks for now. Okay, this is how it looks for now. Now what we gotta do is integrate cameras. I know we're diving into more complex stuff, but pretty much what I want you guys to do is understand my thought process behind things, to be able to animate more things, and to get to like a better outcome. Let's start with the camera movements. That is something that is very important because a part of this video is for you guys to understand keyframes and animation and the thought process a little bit behind it while practically doing it. And another part of it is camera movements. Now, camera movement is something that I see very, very crucial. And if you really don't use camera, then you're missing out on big stuff. But yeah, let's start with camera movement and I'll break it down to you guys completely from the fundamentals of it. First thing you want to do is create a camera and make a 1 node or 2 node camera, doesn't matter. Okay, let's go for 1 node and make the mm 50 mm. All right, and then just have these settings and click OK. Now once you click OK, right click on it and pretty much create camera from orbit null. Now what does an orbit null do? See, if I try to rotate my camera, it won't rotate, but the orbit null can rotate it humanly. You guys can see. Okay, now everything is already 3D. So one other thing is that if things are not 3D, then just make sure these things are 3D. As for the black background, don't make it 3D. But yeah, anyways, this is what we have with the orbit null. And now we want to connect more nulls to the orbit null by pretty much just right clicking, going to new, and then null, and just duplicate this null 2 times maybe. Yeah, 2 times or 3 times. I just do it 3 times first. And now we want to parent all the nulls sequentially. So null number 4 is going to be parent to null number 3, null number 3 to null number 2, null number 2 to null number 1. Okay, and make sure all of these nulls are now 3D. Now what I want to do is initially when I have a scene like this, I always start with some sort of a nice movement, which is like coming out with a zoom out. Okay, so what I want to do is like until over here. By the way, let me make the time code 0. So start time code 0. Okay, now I want to go like 2 seconds or until over here, and I want to do a good zoom out. So I'm gonna go to my orbit null, go to position by pressing P on my keyboard, go in the starting and just do a zoom in like this and see what happens. This is what happens. It looks like it's coming from like a zoomed out. So I usually have a zoom out and zoom in when I have scenes like this. Now look how much life this adds already. It makes so much life and it makes it look so good. I love it already. Now what we want to do is obviously set a graph. So for this graph, for the position graph, actually what I will do is I will extend this more. I'll take it to 3 seconds. And now you'll understand also why we have more nulls. We're gonna be using a concept called keyframe overlapping. So yeah, first thing, make F9. Okay, so we can easy ease this by F9 or just go here and do easy ease. And then take this point, take it like this. Take this point, take it to the left. One more thing I want to do is I want to go to value graph. Okay, actually we cannot adjust the value graph because the dimensions are not separated. But anyways, that's fine. Look, you see this is the zoom out that we have basically. But I want to make it a bit harsher, to be honest. Like I wanted to zoom in from more. So it was going to come out from this much. As for the final position, it actually does not need to be like here exactly. I'll just make the final position something like that, like this. Don't worry too much about it, where you're gonna understand why. Now look, it comes out like this, boom. Now what I want to do is I want people to look at these one by one. Like, this is a bit distracting. If I'm looking at the middle of the screen, they won't really see the things that are around. Imagine if it was like this, outside. They won't really see the things that are around, you get me? So how do we make them see it one by one? This comes with a concept called focal points. So focal points, basically you adjust your viewpoint based on where you want your viewer to see. So the second this arrow goes out, I want my viewer to see basically the arrow and the monetary reward. So look over here, this arrow comes out, I'll do a cut with my camera. And this is amazing. Like, this is something that no one taught or no one teaches. So do a cut, okay? And now I will move my camera position. How will I move it? Using these tools over here. So I'll move it. All right, let's go to the end just so I can see where my camera, like, I want this to be the middle point, right? I want my monetary reward to look like it's in the middle, basically. Okay, this is what's happening. You see there is a cut, but obviously because there is a cut, it looks a bit weird. So what I want to do is I want to zoom it in a little bit, and to zoom it in, just press P over here and zoom it in this much. So I'm gonna zoom it in so that people can see this very clearly. Monetary reward, like everyone can see this very clearly. So look, monetary reward. Boom, come in. But one thing is, I don't like the way this comes before, like before the camera cut. It makes it look a bit weird. So what I will do is I will just cut the monetary reward to come up over here. So do Alt left squared bracket. So basically we're cutting it, you know. This is how it's gonna come. Cut. And now I wanna keep this for like a second. So I'm gonna go from 1 to 2 almost over here. And I'm gonna do another cut. So cut, and my position stays the same. Take this and take it over here. So look, amazing. So monetary reward. All right, one more second. Let's go to second number 3. By the way, we gotta increase the length of our timeline. So I'll make it around 6 seconds, which basically I'll go here. Or I'll make it around 7 seconds, okay, just so we have margin. 720 is fine, doesn't have to be so exact. I'll take all of this and I'll do Alt right square bracket, or no, not all of this, right square bracket, take all of this, right square bracket, so that it extends basically. So yeah, we have this cut number 1, cut number 2, go 1 second ahead, 0.3, do cut number 4 or cut number 3, sorry, take this over here this way so that this is in the middle. By the way, to check if this is in the middle, we can basically take our grid and just make sure, like this, you see. So I want my scene, my client satisfaction to basically be in the middle in this way. Cool. So cut. Now look, we have one problem, is that there is no dynamics now. The scene just died. At this point, it feels like it dried out. So I know the solution for that, which is why I named this the animation mastery. Because when we come up with problems like that, what is the solution? Because these are the mistakes that beginners make. But anyways, I'll cover that up. Now let me go to second number 4. Do another cut, and over here this will be in the middle, almost like this. I don't want it to be too much in the middle. So look, let's have a look at it. We have this come up, monetary reward, creative mastery, client satisfaction. But at this point, things died because now there is nothing moving. It's just camera cut, and it feels so weird. So look, even though we decided that we wanted these arrows to come up like 10 frames after each other, it doesn't matter. I can alter it. So over here, basically, what I'm gonna do is take my creative mastery and take this arrow and delay it a little bit so that it looks like there is more movement, you get me? So delay this a little bit. Now look, see? Now we have a bit more movement just because I delayed it. And I'm gonna do the exact same thing for these also. So client satisfaction, let's find that arrow, which is this one, and delay it a little bit. We don't want to delay it too much, obviously, because then it won't feel sequential. But see, this comes, and now this one, which is this arrow, and delay it a little bit. So you see how much I'm pushing backwards just to delay it. Now let's have a look. Boom. Now it feels way less dead. But we have one more problem. Regardless of this looking very nice and the fact that, you know, we have this animation, looks like it's sequential. At this point, if you focus, there is a zoom. So it makes it look really nice when we have the zoom that we can see. So for the zoom, basically, why did we make more nulls? Just so for these nulls, I can alter the positions. So what I will take is I'll take a position, all right? I'll go in the end, and let's say, for example, until 5:12, I want this to keep zooming out a little bit, a little by little, so that it is consistent. Now look, there is a consistent zoom out. You see, it adds more life immediately. But one thing is, I want to basically just select this and make it a bit bigger. So select like both of the keyframes, that is important, and make it a bit bigger. So now let's look at what we have. Boom. Nice. Looks amazing. I think we can definitely make a bit more movement, just so it feels like a bit more dynamic. You get me? So now there is movement and it's so nice. There is movement and it's so nice. Okay, but this is still not making me too happy. Like I feel like something is off. And that might be because the circle is not moving. So how do I make the circle also move? We're gonna do the same thing. You see the circle in the starting when we did the keyframes, it was in the last keyframe of these. So now basically I just want to extend this out, and pretty much this is how it's. Okay, no, that's way too slow. So I know what's the solution for that. We want to go here to scale, okay, and pretty much we want to go to value graph. We want to take these and pull them also. Pull these so it becomes way harsher. Pull these all the way up. Take these, pull them down a little bit, and now see what happens. So it is consistently moving, but it's still like slow. It's slowly moving, which is what I like. And what I will do is I'll push this a bit backward so that it comes up earlier. You get me? So yeah, this comes, the arrow comes, and now the circle is also moving with it, which adds a very nice touch, and I like it. And I mean, definitely we can improve this in certain ways, but I don't see much of a problem anymore, you know? It definitely looks amazing. Now over here, I'm gonna end the animation, and I'm pretty much gonna cut my camera, all right, and delete it. And the default camera that we had, I'll take it backwards and I'll cut it, take it here, cut this. So basically now I brought my default camera back again. Now over here, I basically cannot have these cut up in a way where it looks like it's cut. So I basically have to zoom out my camera. Now I have an idea. Instead of already having it zoomed out, what I can do is have it defaulting at this position almost, all right, and animate the camera. So go to position, go to like around 1 second or 2 seconds, something like that, and just zoom it out like this so we can see everything. So now see what happens. Basically, this will zoom out. Now because we have fast movement and stuff like that, I'm gonna go and do a graph, which is gonna be the exact same graph that I did a couple of times in this video already. So let's look. Nice. This looks amazing. Real insights, monetary reward, creative mastery, and boom. Amazing. Look, guys, we just made a crazy fucking animation. And if you are at this point still and you're literally followed me and you're able to get what I'm doing, then this is amazing. So look, what I did is it's all a thought process. I want people to look at monetary rewards, and then I want people to look at creative mastery one by one, because I want people to focus on this. I want people to look at client satisfaction. So I literally just zoomed in and I'm showing them, and now I'm showing all of them together. So now they get it. They understand. It's a story. You get me? So it's a story. It's like a storytelling. I'm telling them I'm gonna show you guys the real insights, and then monetary reward into achieving success. Basically, is what I said. Now I want to tell them like, what is success? Success is all of this stuff. So I'm showing it in animation and now I'm zooming it out. So it's a fucking story. It's a story, which is what I love. Now there is some other parts that we can do, which is tweakings and stuff like that. But I want to keep this video only for animations. I don't want to overcomplicate it with more stuff. And why did I start with such a like complex video? Is because if you guys were able to follow me here, subconsciously or consciously, you might have understood a lot of things, from the design to the concept of cutting things to the concept of how I sequentially did all the animations, and it's a lot of concepts in one animation. And tomorrow basically we're gonna have a 0 to hero step for you guys. But yeah, I hope you guys understood the animations and what I did, and I want to look at your guys' progress. But yeah, with that being said, I think we're ready. But yeah, with that being said, I think we're done with day 1 of bootcamp, and I'll see you guys in the day 2, which is gonna be the video after this. Peace out.